bidirectional relation between tourism and economic development. Proposal presented by the professors of the Department of Economics of the University of Jaén, Juan Ignacio Pulido-Fernández and Pablo Juan Cárdenas-García. Introduction. The aim of this work is to analyze through an empirical study at the country level using a broad sample of 143 countries the bidirectional relationship between the growth of tourism activity and economic development using quantitative information from these countries during the last 25 years, 1993 to 27. At the beginning of this century, the first work that analyzed the contribution of tourism to economic growth appeared, Tourism-Led Economic Growth. Since then to date, many works have been published that analyze the contribution of tourism to economic growth, works that have come to determine by a large majority that the expansion of tourism. The present work of analysis of the bidirectional relationship between tourism and economic development tries to overcome this limitation, undertaking an empirical study with the large sample of countries and a broad time frame which determines the possible relationships that can occur between tourism and economic development. It is necessary to measure three specific dimensions, which, in turn, are composed of multiple variables: tourism growth, economic development, and determinant factors. Data analyzed. For the measurement of tourism growth, existing information has been used from the database called the Global Economic Contribution of Travel and Tourism, which is prepared by the World Travel and Tourism Council. For the quantitative development data from the Human Development Report has been used a report prepared by the United Nations Development Programme. Thirdly, regarding factors that can influence the bidirectional relationship between tourism and economic development, variables have been used that, having been analyzed previously in other research studies. According to the three databases used and the time restrictions, all those countries for which information was available for the last 25 years have been selected, so that the sample analyzed in the present work is composed of 143 countries. Mixed models with random effects by year and country were used to study the association of tourism growth according to economic development and vice versa. Subsequently built a multivariate model TH that analyzes the association of both tourism and economic development with the 5 groups of factors previously identified by the scientific literature. Results. The results have been obtained by means of multivariate linear regression models. Applied to the response variable of the tourism growth score and the level of economic development score during the time frame analyzed. Figure represents the results of the model, showing, in addition, the significant and relevant variables for tourism growth and economic development from the key factors that have been analyzed, indicating the degree of association with both dimensions of each of the standardized indicators. Conclusions. Between tourism and economic growth has been widely studied by the scientific literature of the last 2 decades. In general, it has been shown that the expansion of tourism boosts economic growth in the countries where the tourism occurs. But there are also works that show that the opposite is true, that is, that economic growth contributes positively to the expansion of tourism activity. The results obtained. Hypotheses proposed. Indeed, as the first hypothesis suggested, it has been possible to demonstrate that the growth of tourism improves the level of economic development in the countries where the tourism takes place and, in turn, the level of economic development of these countries determines the expansion of tourism activity in said territories. Likewise, the second hypothesis has been corroborated. The bidirectional relationship that exists between tourism growth and economic development is conditioned by a set of factors that favor or limit this relationship.